You know that feeling of watching an old dog try to jump on a couch and fail? Or when you watch your great-grandmother struggle to remember your name before giving up? Well, if you haven't, Ric Flair's last atrocity of a match is a pretty good simulation. I genuinely think the wrestling industry could be beautiful and deliver heartfelt moments, but this just wasn't that. 5 years prior to this match, Ric Flair had one of his intestines explode and problems with his heart. To treat the intestine problem, he was placed under an 11-day coma, and for his heart issue, he had a pacemaker placed in his body. Plus, he has to take an ass ton of blood thinners now. But of course, after all that, he said, fuck it, I'm gonna bleed a gallon while taking bumps that no 70-year-old should take. And somehow, a wrestling promotion thought it would be a fantastic idea to pick this up and sell it to the masses. If it wasn't obvious enough, wrestling could be some of the trashiest, saddest entertainment on the face of the earth. The fans aren't helping either. Why do you think these wrestlers get ring disease? It's because these fucking morons pay and cheer for this crazy shit. Anyway, enough about this shitty fan base. Let's move on to the actual match. So the event starts like any wrestling match. The entrances. And I can't lie, the drip was amazing, the robe is S tier, and he's wearing the World Heavyweight title belt. His family is in attendance, along with a couple other wrestling legends. I think it was Bret Hart, Mick Foley, and The Undertaker. And even the beginning of the match wasn't too crazy. He took a couple of light bumps, he got some chops in, he was taunting, and he didn't look like he was about to die. This was the best case scenario, until it wasn't. He got in a very frail looking figure 4 leg lock, but the crowd was still into it, so I can't complain. That was until Jeff Jarrett punched him in the head to break it up. They tossed this old man out to ringside and beat the shit out of him. He got his head slammed into the rail, Jeff hit him with a high heel and he falls to the ground. I just thought this would be a normal rest spot, but of course it's not gonna be. It's Ric Flair. So this crazy fucker decides to cut himself and fake a heart attack in front of his own family. I honestly can't tell you if these screams are hilarious or blood-curdling. But look at his family in the crowd. Look at Bret Hart, bro. Flair is actively traumatizing everyone else around him. Anyway, moving on. We get back into the ring, and this man takes a suplex and just doesn't move for like a solid minute. The man faking a heart attack stops moving. I'm not gonna lie, as I write this script, I can't help but wonder what is going on in the minds of his family and friends. This footage was an inch away from being put on Live Leak, and these people couldn't do anything but watch. It didn't even get better either. After he rose to his feet, he looked lost. He did not know where he was. His mouth was wide open, he was stumbling, and he's still bleeding everywhere. They set up a spot for Ric Flair to take a signature guitar shot from Jeff Jarrett. But thank God Ric Flair dodges last second. I really thought they were gonna let it get that uncomfortable and just let him take this shit full force. So they go through the motions, and the last spot of the match is supposed to be Ric Flair punching Jeff Jarrett with brass knuckles and locking in the figure 4 leg lock. One problem. Ric Flair can't muster up the strength to put on the knuckles or stand up. I forgot to mention that this is a tag team match, but it doesn't even matter. So what I'm pretty sure what was supposed to be planned is Ric Flair stands up and Jose Andrade just hands him some brass knuckles and he punches Jeff Jarrett in the face. One problem. Actually, two. Ric Flair is just laying on the ground lifeless. He's not standing up and he doesn't even have the strength to put on the brass knuckles. Andrade tries to put him in his hands, but they just depressingly fall out and his hands are shaking like he's having a seizure. I genuinely thought he died here. Flair hits Jarrett with a punch and latches on the world's saddest leg lock. Jarrett's shoulders were on the mat, so Flair wins by a 3 count. Just ignore the fact that Flair's shoulders were also on the mat. Anyway, purple and white confetti falls from the ceiling. His disturbed co-workers congratulate him and the world is good again. Ric Flair is done with wrestling. Ignore the fact that he signed with AEW.